Hello everyone, it's Maureen. Today I want to show you how I come up with a story idea, a creative idea for playing with words with the help of the cards by the story engine. This is the guidebook that comes with this deck. They have many others, but I want to focus on this one today. And these are the cards that will make up the story. Now, without getting into too much detail, because then you will have to read the guidebook, and that is a little bit too much information, I want to quickly tell you how these cards work, and then I'm going to show you, of course, an example of what that may bring you, or me in this case. It's actually very simple. It is built up of these four. Vier is actually Dutch, which is my mother language. So it's actually made up of these four components and this fifth one, which goes with either the yellow and the blue cards. Now, what is this about? You start with an agent, which I always call a who. Then you have the engine of the story, which is what they want to do, what their mission is. Then you have an anchor card, which I always explain as an object or a place. And then you have the conflict card, which I always envision as the but card. So a person wants to do something to find or do or whatever with a or in a place, but it will, and then something comes up. And then this fifth card, the aspect card, tells you a little bit more about the person, the object, or the place. So it is sort of a modifier. It tells you something about a trait or, it will become more clear once we get into it. Now, what I find very good about these cards is that the first thing they write here in the book is that please don't put the deck away until you create something, if even one word in your notebook or an idea in your head. And that is exactly what I always do, what I do with all my creative exercises. So this is so fitting. And then what they say is, if you don't like a card, if you don't like the rule, or if you don't like the guideline, it doesn't fit what you want to do, ignore it, just ditch it. Ditch the rules when they get in the way. It is meant to serve your creative goals, not the other way around. So you will find me using these cards in many different ways, sometimes exactly as they are intended, and sometimes maybe not. But as you see, you can do it in whatever way you want. So let's go and let's see what these cards will bring us today. Now, to make it more fun, I have this little bowl here. In there is my satchel with D&D dice, Dungeons and Dragons dice, for those of you who are familiar with that. They are the die that you may all recognize, the simple six-sided die, but then they also have these sort of oddly shaped other dice, and you use that to play tabletop role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons, which I actually don't, but I love these dice, and I also love watching people play the game, so that's why I have them. And now you're wondering, why, Maureen, why do you have these dice? Well, let me show you. I like to let sort of fate dictate my cards. So I have this pile here. I will give it a shuffle. And then instead of pulling one out myself, I roll the die. I get a 6, so I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then that's the card that I will take today. So then we have the engine card. I will give that a pull. No, I'll give it a shuffle. right? We roll the die again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, so that's what I do. But for the purpose of this video, I will leave the die behind. I will just give it a shuffle. 2, 3, it has to be 3 times. I know, I'm a little bit OCD like that. This one sticks out. Then we have the conflict. We have to know what the cost is, if you will, for this person in order to do whatever this will bring us. Alrighty, this one. Okay, so first we're going to do these. So we have an agent, an engine, a thing or a place, and a but. Alright, now each of these cards has 4 prompts on it, and it's up to me to choose which one I want. So we have an addict, a patient, a drunk, and a gambler. Now, this fits the first rule. I don't like the card, so I'm not going to use it. I'm simply going to pick the next one on top, and that's better. An investigator, a conspiracy theorist, a journalist, and a scientist. I am, for now, going to go with investigator. And here we have a fight, a blade, an arena, and a shield, which also is going to be in the discard pile. And then we have a sacrifice, a flask, a mountain, and a pit. This really appeals to me more. But first, I want to know what this investigator is up to. He or she, they want to upstage a rival within. 1 to commit a crime. G. Alright, we have a discard pile today. That's fine. They want to conceal the dangers of, or they want to reveal the dangers of. I think that this will fit best for me. A flask. So there's an investigator. They have found out something, or they're not sure, but they have a suspicion that there's some danger involving in a certain flask. Yeah, a flask. And that's what they want to reveal. That's why they are investigating the flask or the people that have this flask. And what is the but? They will have to make a promise they don't know, they cannot keep. Ooh. They must swear loyalty to something or someone they abhor. Well, no. Let's do this. Yeah, it will take them somewhere they never wanted to go. So, what I now will do is I will pull 2 aspect cards for these 2. And you see, we came from nothing, and now we have an investigator and an intrigue with dangers and places people do not want to go. It is already bubbling up what this may lead to. Alright, an honest, an inspired, a bloody, or a fortune-telling investigator. Well, they are honest because they want to reveal the dangers. They are also inspired by what? Fortune-telling. I kind of like that. You know what? They might have bitten off more than they can chew. You know, sometimes you do fortune telling and then something comes up that you didn't really want to know, that you can't really control. Would that be something, or is that too far-fetched? You know what? I'll go with honest today. I don't want to make it complicated. So what's with the flask? You see, these are all, adjectives, I think is the right word. So they tell you more about the thing, the object, or the thing and the object are the same, or the place, the thing, and the people that are involved in the story. I don't even know what that is. I'll have to look that up. A forgotten, a holy, and an obsessive flask. So I'm gonna go with obsessive or forgotten. What about forgotten? Yeah, everybody has forgotten this flask, or better, they have forgotten that this flask and what is in there contains danger. Maybe not to everyone, maybe to certain people, I don't know, but it is forgotten, and this investigator has come to that conclusion. He is onto something, and then they will have to go somewhere that they don't want to go. Wow. So yeah, there you have it. An honest investigator wants to reveal the dangers of forgotten flask, but they will have to go somewhere they never wanted to go. So this is it. This is a story. Here it starts the creative process of thinking about who this is, what their backstory is, what this flask is, who it had belonged to in the past or not. I suppose so. I mean, somebody will have made it, and somebody has made the contents of this flask. And where is this place that they didn't really want to go? This somewhere. Now, this somewhere you can pull with other cards from the story engine, but I'm not going to do that now. But I do want to learn about the owner or the previous owner of this flask. So I'm going to give this one more shuffle. And let's see. I'll take this and see if something interesting comes up. A dissident, a witch, black sheep, or heretic. Which is maybe too obvious. A predator, a criminal, a profiteer, or a bully. Gee, no, don't really like it. I'm sorry. Some of these words are just not appealing to me, and I know I should not discard them like this. I should try to work with it, but today I don't want to. I want it to flow instantly. Scoundrel, a villain, a tyrant, or a kingpin. A villain. Yeah, a villain. And what's with this villain? So then, yeah, you could argue that this gives you the more obvious choices. But to me, that is the point of my everyday 15 minutes creative plays with words, because I don't want to make it complicated. I don't want to have to think for hours and, dig deep. In this case, I just want to have something like right away. So this is a villain. He was very clever because he had the knowledge of making a flask and a content that would be very dangerous to people. Why did they do that? Yeah. Can we make that up with these? I don't know. This is an experiment, guys. Let's see. Oh, yes, of course. Oh, yes. That would be something. Oh, yes. See? They wanted to save a loved one with that flask, with the contents that they made. But it backfired, and then it went dangerous, and then something happened with the villain. The flask was long forgotten, and now in these days, in the present time, an investigator has come across this flask, maybe even has come across the legend of this clever villain that wanted to save their loved one. And so now they can reveal that whatever is inside of there is dangerous. Yes, this makes the story come to life even more and more and more. You know what? We can do this somewhere with an anchor card. We'll have to pull a place, not a thing. Or even a thing, I guess. Let's see. That one wanted to fly out. So let's use that one and see what this one has to say. Yeah. Oh, how good is that? Now I'm sort of thinking about, yeah, what is in that flask? What did they brew that was so um, dangerous? Sorry, I can't think and speak and then look at the cards. A forest. A plant of paradise, a seed, a helmet of weapon. No, this one's not good. A forest. It will take they will have to go to a forest, and maybe it's a creepy forest, I don't know. Maybe it's a forest where something happened. Maybe they were attacked, endangered. I don't know. Maybe there's a legend, like a story. What do you say? A fairy tale? Yeah, a deceptive forest or an empty forest. Yeah, an empty forest. They know that there's a clearing in this forest that's completely empty. There are no flowers, there are very little plants, the animals don't want to go there, and that's where this flask was buried by the villain, because they knew they had made a brew that they wanted to save their loved one with, but it didn't work, it backfired, so they put it in the flask and buried it somewhere because they didn't know how else to get rid of this, and they were sort of ashamed that they made something that didn't save their loved one and that now in fact even endangered somebody. Oh, could it be as sad that they brewed something, a potion, and then they gave it to their loved one, and that loved one even died from the contents of that flask? Oh, wow. Yeah, that could be. Well, do you see? This is a really intriguing story. And I'm gonna leave it at this, I think. Do you think? Do you agree? Would we want to pull a card for the loved one? Yes, I think we do. One more shuffle. Yes. Shall we take the top one, see what that brings us in the bottom one for, just in case. A visionary, an inventor, a painter, and a prophet. Painter, child prodigy, an expert, a virtuoso, and an academic. I like painter. I don't know why. I like painter. And let's do an arcane, influential, indicative, influential, arcane. Arcane painter. This painter had powers, had magic powers. And the villain thought, you know what? I will dive into their notebook, their arcane notebook, making potions. Maybe the painter told them, don't try to save me, you can't, and it's dangerous, don't look in my notebook. And the villain, they were too clever. They knew that they could brew the potion. They just didn't realize that their partner was right. Don't mess with the arcane. So in the end, they did brew it. They did give it to their partner, the painter. And the painter, sadly, they weren't saved. They died. So then they buried the flask in the forgotten, the empty forest, the creepy forest where nobody wants to go, because somewhere this legend still floats in the history of this region where the investigator, the villain, and the painter are living. So everybody knows not to go to this exact space in the forest where there's the clearing, where's the flask. But for some reason, this investigator knows that it is time to unbury the flask, to dig it up and to destroy it in the right way, so that nobody after that will be in danger of also getting very ill, of dying from this brew in the flask. So yes, now I feel it is rounded out. There is a whole intrigue, a whole story, and yes, of course, you can um, dive deeper into this investigator. Why were they after this Flask? Why did they come across this storyline about the villain and the painter and the forest and the floods? But that's the joy of playing with words, of playing with story, prompts, of playing with the seeds of a story. And yeah, for now, I'm gonna leave you and me and myself with this pretty much rounded out, yeah, story snippet. I'm going to write it down in my beautiful story prompt journal, and then I will see if something will come up in the next few days to give it more body, or that this for me is enough. Okay, thank you so very much for watching and listening to me. I hope this inspires you in some way, that it at least gives you a nice couple of minutes listening to me, being creative, getting more and more enthusiastic about the story that evolves. And if you want to, I would very much appreciate it if you give this video a like. And if you want to stay in touch, you can subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss the next video about playing with words and coming up with stories. It would mean a lot to me. So for now, thank you. I love you. Bye bye.